Yoga is a group of physical, mental, and spiritual practices or disciplines which originated in ancient India and aim to control and still the mind, recognizing a detached witness consciousness untouched by the mind and mundane suffering. There is a wide variety of schools of yoga, practices, and goals in Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism, and traditional and modern yoga is practiced worldwide. Two general theories exist on the origins of yoga. The linear model holds that yoga originated in the Vedic period, as reflected in the Vedic textual corpus, and influenced Buddhism. According to author Edward Fitzpatrick Crangle, this model is mainly supported by Hindu scholars. According to the synthesis model, yoga is a synthesis of non-Vedic and Vedic elements. This model is favored in Western scholarship. Yoga-like practices are first mentioned in the Rig Veda. Yoga is referred to in a number of the Upanishads. The first known appearance of the word yoga with the same meaning as the modern term is in the Katha Upanishad, which was probably composed between the 5th and 3rd centuries BCE. Yoga continued to develop as a systematic study and practice during the 5th and 6th centuries BCE in ancient India's ascetic and Rama movements. The most comprehensive text on yoga, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, date to the early centuries of the Common Era. Yoga philosophy became known as one of the 6 orthodox philosophical schools of Hinduism in the second half of the 1st millennium CE. Hatha yoga texts began to emerge between the 9th and 11th centuries, originating in Tantra. The term yoga in the Western world often denotes a modern form of hatha yoga and a posture-based physical fitness, stress relief and relaxation technique, consisting largely of asanas. This differs from traditional yoga, which focuses on meditation and release from worldly attachments. It was introduced by gurus from India after the success of Swami Vivekananda's adaptation of yoga without asanas in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Vivekananda introduced the Yoga Sutras to the West, and they became prominent after the 20th century success of Hatha yoga. The ultimate goals of yoga are stilling the mind and gaining insight, resting in detached awareness, and liberation from sasra and dukkha, a process leading to unity with the divine or with oneself. This goal varies by philosophical or theological system. In the classical Ashtanga yoga system, the ultimate goal of yoga is to achieve samadhi and remain in that state as pure awareness. According to Knut A. Jacobsen, yoga has 5 principal meanings. Disciplined method for attaining a goal. Techniques of controlling the body and mind. A name of a school or system of philosophy. With prefixes such as hatha-, mantra-, and laya-, traditions specializing in particular yoga techniques. And the goal of yoga practice. David Gordon White writes that yoga's core principles were more or less in place in the 5th century CE, and variations of the principles developed over time. A meditative means of discovering dysfunctional perception and cognition, as well as overcoming it to release any suffering, find inner peace, and salvation. Illustration of this principle is found in Hindu texts such as the Bhagavad Gita and Yoga Sutras, in a number of Buddhist Mahayana works, as well as Jain texts. The raising and expansion of consciousness from oneself to being coextensive with everyone and everything. These are discussed in sources such as in Hinduism Vedic literature and its epic Mahabharata, the Jain Prasamrata Prakarana, and Buddhist Nikaya texts. A path to omniscience and enlightened consciousness enabling one to comprehend the impermanent and permanent reality. Examples of this are found in Hinduism Nyaya and Vaisesika school texts as well as Buddhism Dhyamaka texts, but in different ways. A technique for entering into other bodies, generating multiple bodies, and the attainment of other supernatural accomplishments. These are, states White, described in tantric literature of Hinduism and Buddhism, as well as the Buddhist Smanyaphala Sutta. James Mallinson, however, disagrees and suggests that such fringe practices are far removed from the mainstream yoga's goal as meditation-driven means to liberation in Indian religions. According to White, the last principle relates to legendary goals of yoga practice. It differs from yoga's practical goals in South Asian thought and practice since the beginning of the Common Era in Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain philosophical schools.